Expelliarmus. Few Harry Potter fans can forget the humor of watching Henry Longbottom learning the Expelliarmus spell. From accio to wingardium leviosa, it was essential to move one's wand and say the incantation precisely to make the spell work. Otherwise, there was no telling what would happen. Every reader of fantasy literature is well aware of the rules of magic that require precision in wording spells for them to work properly. Also, every reader of such books knows that it is purely made up and magic does not exist. Except that as modern society rejects God and His Word as the foundation of truth, more and more people turn to paganism and magic as if it's real. While rational people know this is clearly a fictional concept, meaning that it's pure make-believe, there is a lesson to be learned from the idea of magical phrases and incantations permeating the series and most fantasy books and movies. That lesson is the penchant for humans to lock in on certain phrases and become convinced that we have to say certain things in certain ways. We unconsciously do it in our dealings with other people. If you don't think so, drop a y'all or a fixin' to into your next conversation with your Yankee friends and see what happens. Or drop a "youse guys" among us Southerners and listen to the response. Proper grammar is important, but today's Morning Minutes in the Bible on Traditional Tuesday is about us clinging to our preferred wording and demanding everyone say what we say the way we say it. Sorry to burst your bubble, but our preferred wording is not as important as we may think. Unfortunately, we also tend to do this in religion, a lot. Now, make no mistake, biblical accuracy is far more important than whether we say y'all or you guys. Those are just colloquial preferences, while biblical accuracy can be the difference between expressing truth or a lie. Y'all and you guys are merely about whether or not we get ridiculed. Misunderstanding and misapplying God's truth can get us rejected by God. Jesus told the Pharisees that they didn't know what they were talking about in their rejection of the resurrection based on the tense of the verb I am. When God said, I am the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, they were dead. But God is the God of the living, which means Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob continue to exist in the heavenly realm. Mark 12, verses 24 through 27. So, words are important, and how we handle God's word has eternal consequences. However, we must be very careful that we are holding to God's standard, to His truth, rather than our own preferred wording. Remember, whether our preference is based on opposition to certain false doctrines or the Bible version we grew up with, the words we prefer are not binding. God's truth is, but our preferred words aren't. I freely admit that I cringe when I hear my brethren use certain words and phrases because even though they can express biblical truth, I know how false teachers use them to mislead and promote their false doctrine. And if I know the person well enough, I ask if they understand what those words mean in today's religious culture. But I don't demand they stop using them. After all, it's not as if they're magic. Just something to ponder on Traditional Tuesday. Until tomorrow's Morning Minutes in the Bible, this is James McClenny hoping you have a great day.